Good evening, everybody. It's Shelley Johns here from Gympie. I'm a Herbalife member. I've been with the company now 28 years and I've lost over 20 kilos and 3 dress sizes, and I just love being part of this company and helping people in my community. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome the two presenters for tonight. We have Irene Hofstetter from the Sunny Coast and Lindy Chandler from Canberra. So they're going to be presenting our Part 1 training, which is a really, really important training, especially if you're new, but even if you're not new, just to always be reminded of the basics, okay, because we keep it really simple. So I'm just going to hand it over to Irene, and you can have a chat about your stories if you like first, and then we'll kick off with some good news.
Okay. Hey, hi everybody. I'm Irene from the Sunshine Coast, and 29 years ago, I started Herbalife to lose weight. I went from a size 18 back down to my size 8-10, and the best thing was great health. I decided to stay on the products for that reason, and at 71, I have more energy than I've ever had before, than most people my age, and I'm also, the great thing is that I don't need any medication at all. So feel fantastic, love Herbalife. I'm grateful that it came into my life. Back over to you, Lindy.
Oh, hi. I'm Lindy from Canberra. I'm a supervisor. I've been using Herbalife since 2008. And I lost, before Herbalife, I had poor digestion, I had low energy and awful skin. And then to make matters worse, I split my pants twice in one day at the shop. So I thought, okay, now I need to do something. So I used the Ultimate program to lose my weight. So I lost 20 kilos in 20 weeks. And I don't actually know the measurements offhand, but I've lost 11.2% body fat and 11% visceral fat, which is really good. And the best part is I've got loads of energy and I feel fantastic. And I've gone from size 20 down to about size 12.
Fantastic. So we both love the product, so that's obvious for you. If you could press the next slide, please, Shelley. Thank you. Okay, so what we're going to start off with, some good news, and on this call there's some really excellent people who will have good things to share with us. So if I can pass it over first to Jan, if she's available. Jan, have you got some good news this evening?
Yes, I had some repeat business. The lady who got her husband on the product, who's very difficult, still won't weigh and measure or give the weights and measurements as yet. But she did say that he's looking a lot more sort of colour in his face, because he was looking very grey before. So that's really, really good. So she feels, you know, obviously something's beginning to happen for him, because he's coming from a very low ebb of sort of health sort of way. Very, very, very overweight and couldn't breathe very well. So the breathing's getting better. So obviously he's on the path of, getting better, hopefully. And he does do the right thing. She said, because I said, is he cheating? She said, no. One thing about him is very honest. So she said, no, he's not cheating. I said, well, just double check about the amount of water. She did pick up another herbal aloe because he had run out. So that was really good. And another Formula 1. So I gave a sample of the mango aloe because he wasn't really fussed on the original. But I did suggest put a little touch of orange juice in it. So he was having it because he finished the bottle. So I thought he might like the mango. So she went off with that, and a sample of the instant herbal beverages as well. Because I really do believe in sampling, because if they, try the product, then obviously what usually happens is they buy the product. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed. He begins to show signs of some weight loss this week.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jan. And Lydia, you also have some good news, I believe.
Hey, Irene, how you going? I was approached just at our local gym last Tuesday. I suppose you could say this lady came through just by wearing and being the brand, I guess. I had noticed in the past she's been a friend on my Herbalife page on Facebook. And I often wondered why she was, always on that page, but never ever inquired over the last 12 months. But obviously the timing must have been right for her. So she approached me at the gym last Tuesday, wanted to know a little bit about Herbalife. I just gave her a basic 3-minute sort of rundown on the products. over the years, I've learnt not to vomit Herbalife and not to talk too much about it. Getting them to ask more questions is the key. So from that meeting with her at the gym, I said, you know, anytime you're free to come out home if you're serious, I'll make you some samples and we'll talk about the prices then, because I really just didn't want to get involved standing in the gym talking about it and possibly going nowhere, because that can be a bit of a time waster. Anyway, cut a long story short, she texted me on Thursday. She was heading to Mooloolaba for the weekend for her daughter to compete in a triathlon down there and wanted to get started straight away. So the invitation went out for her to come to my place, but she had a dog phobia, so therefore I had to go to her house, funnily enough. But anyway, with that in mind, instead of taking around a program with 4 products, I took a program around with 8 products in it, thinking, well, if I'm going to start doing house calls, I want a little bit extra money. So anyway, cut a long story short, my profit jumped, you know, from the $120 to $170. So by taking 2 extra products and having them on hand with me, and also leaving her with a couple of sample of products, yeah, she ran back that afternoon and grabbed a box of bars as well. So yeah, I just done a day. I think she started on Friday. So I caught up with her today when she got back from Mooloolaba, going fantastic, and catching up with her on Wednesday. So yeah, just not obviously a centre of influence really, but she obviously watches Facebook and has just been watching what I put out there, because I'm not friends with her on Facebook. So yeah, it's just interesting to see where these people come from.
Amazing. Thank you very much. And now I have Steve. Steve, I believe you have some good information for us as well and news.
Well, the most exciting thing that happened to me is I went to the summit this month. I rarely ever get a chance to go to a meeting, and I was so excited to be able to go. And it was a fantastic day. There was so much information, so many stories. It just livens you up. It's just the best thing to happen. So that's about all I can really say. There's lots of information, but you don't need to know that now. So.
Yeah, it's like getting an injection of Herbalife into your veins, isn't it?
Exactly right.
Yeah. And you get more confident, and you get to see again and have it instilled in you the power of these products and what they can do for people.
Very much so.
I know exactly what you're saying. And Lydia, I put Lydia down twice. I meant Tanya. Is Tanya there?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Tanya. Well, you have a little bit of news too. You're a brand new person, so tell us what has happened with you with your husband.
Yeah, so David and I are both having the shakes. David's having them for weight loss. I've also got my first order in, which was very exciting. But I'm looking more towards using the products to help my energy levels and some of my choices for snacking and things like that. And yeah, David will be using them for weight loss. So he's currently having 2 shakes a day, and we're just waiting for our order to arrive. So he's quite excited about it, which is great.
Yes. That he's your first customer, and probably one of your most important customers.
He sure is.
My customer first. I just didn't want to share. Anyway, it's another story. And Lindy, you have some good news too.
I absolutely do. I've got 2 carers at home that look after the boys when I'm out and doing things, and one of them has been using the products for signed on as a member a while ago, just for sports products. And the other carer would buy products from him. So then it was like, well, why is he getting a discount and I'm not? So he signed on last week, and we're still having quite a few discussions because some of his family are in the Philippines and some are in the States and some are here in Canberra, and a lot of them from medical backgrounds. So because he's the youngest, so they don't often want to listen to a younger sibling. So we're just going through a little bit of inch by inch, was it the saying goes? Yes. So he signed on, so he's really excited, and his wife rang up and said, oh, the pack's arrived home. So he went, oh, well, don't open it because I want to open it. So now they've got that at home. But prior to that, he was using the Formula One Select and some of the sports products because he plays basketball, and he's been very happy with joint support. And what was the other one he ordered? Joint support. Might have been the Tonquai too, I think. So he was happy with both of those, but decided now it's easier if he goes on and orders it by himself.
Absolutely.
And they're both looking at going out, doing their 500 volume points each, which will be even, better for them as well. It's great.
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, my good news is that first of all, my nephew has been doing weight loss, which is fantastic. I've been wanting him to use the products properly. He's always used them. So he's going to come up and visit. So I'm very excited about that. I had a nice chat with him today. One thing I will say, and this is a little training on the side, and sometimes, and Jan taught me this, I've never forgotten the things you taught me, Jan. And she taught me that not to put what you think people should have or do onto them, but let them. Some people don't want to follow, some people want to just do it quietly, or they don't want to jump on the scale and all of that. And my nephew is one of those, though I know he's lost weight from his wife, so I have a little spy in the camp. So just remember, you do what is right so that the person will take the products and keep going, because one day they will actually, maybe share their story more in depth. So that's fantastic. I've asked everybody, I believe. Yes, I have. So the next slide, please. So I'll start off, and these points, you really need to write them down, learn them, and have them that you just automatically understand what these points are all about. So when you're taking notes to learn it, but you're also taking notes so you're able to teach it. And also remember, it's really important to keep your message simple. So the KIS formula, and and that way you can duplicate better. So you learn it, you teach it, and you keep it simple. And the next slide, please. Okay, so the first reference point is 90% opinion and 10% fact. And this is how you handle objections and questions. So everybody has a right to an opinion. And if you were to ask each of us an opinion on something, we all probably would have different ones. So you respect that. However, there is, sorry. I didn't know it was there. Anyway, so the 90% opinion, everybody has a right to, but there is the 10% fact. And the most important fact for you is your own story. So no matter what comes to your plate, what question, what objection, your story will give you the answer. So the next slide, please. Okay, so here are the facts. One of the first facts is that we're over 100 million customers. So we know these products are safe, we know they work. You couldn't be in business for 39 years if the products didn't work. And imagine we're over 90 countries and we're growing. And realize that each country has all of the rules and regulations, so our products are being scrutinized all the time. Not just on a country basis, but on a state or local basis as well. So they're very well checked out. Also, our turnover, our profit was over $7 billion US. And with a money-back guarantee, and don't forget, we had that money-back guarantee from the beginning for 39 years. This isn't a new thing, it's always been there. Mark felt very passionate about that. And with the Nutrition Advisory Board, imagine on that board, we talk about the Nobel Prize winner and the different doctors and scientists that are on there. They are people that are up there at the pinnacle of their profession, and that they are part of Herbalife is something to give you confidence. And being listed on the New York Stock Exchange, what that means for you and me is that it's the actual company is totally open for scrutiny. Anybody can check it out. It's listed on the New York Stock Exchange, so you would have to go there. But the most important fact again is your story, and then other people's story over and over again. So for example, and we go to the next slide, please. So if you're handling objections or questions, one of the first things is, and this you can use in everyday life, with your children, your teenagers, with your husband, so it's very hard sometimes to use it there. But all you say is somebody has an objection. I don't know about that. All I know is, and you tell your results, and you tell other people's results. And you don't need to know anything more but just your result, how you feel, and you always are honest about it. And then if somebody says something to you about, have a question where you just say to them, well, I feel, felt found. Jan taught me that. So I know how you feel. This is how I felt, but what I found was, so you can say if somebody says something about the products and they say, oh, I don't really like this. I know how you feel. I don't like the taste of the instant beverage. I know how you feel. I felt like that. But you know what I found? When I put it in mango aloe, it just is delicious. Or, you give them an answer. And that's really the most important thing to know. Don't get into a half an hour discussion on the question or on the objection. Use your story. Next slide, please. So there are two very important laws that we had to learn off by heart. And the one here, this one is the mega dosage law. And what it means is if there was too much of any one ingredient in any one of our products that could harm someone, it would not be allowed into this country. And with all the regulations, it definitely wouldn't make it through. And then there's the labeling law. And the labeling law states if any person with any medical condition could not use or take these products, it would have to state on the label. And we don't have that on any of our labels. So with that, I hand it over to Miss Lindy, and she will continue from there.
Probably helps it. I take it off mute.
Pardon?
I took it off mute. I'm okay now.
Great. So,
Thank you, Irene. That's lovely. Thank you. Okay, so the one thing that we can know is that the products are 100% safe for everybody. Everybody. Should I just nod my head? Thank you. What our body needs. Now, you might say, what are amino acids? Amino acids help build and maintain muscle tissues, and they also help refuel your body. But we also need things like protein and carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals, essential fats and oils and fiber, plus the added benefit of herbs. Yeah, thank you. And cellular nutrition. So let me tell you about cellular nutrition. There's a few things, well, that's the next slide. I'm skipping ahead. Cellular nutrition provides our body with all the nutrition that it needs in perfect balance on a daily basis. So that takes the question mark off your plate. Now I'm stepping ahead. Okay, so there are three things about cellular nutrition that are important to know. It helps cleanse the villi, we're absorbing more nutrients and regenerating healthier cells. But if you put your hand up and imagine that these are all your villi, when you're feeding the food's going through, and if your villi here are genetically impaired, then the food's not going to be absorbed into the body, which is really important, and it'll get stuck in between here. So by having the cellular nutrition, and that will then repair itself, hopefully within 3 to 7 days, and then that's why people start feeling better in that short period of time. When you give the body everything that it needs, then you're regenerating itself back to its master copy, and that's really important. And that's what we need, and that's quite extraordinary to think that we can, our shakes do that for us. It's wonderful. Thank you. So, how do we lose weight? Less calories. That's what we need to do, no matter what. So, what do you do if you're not losing weight? That's really important. Eating too much, cheating, that's we need to look at that, and perhaps not taking the products correctly either. Okay, so how do we take the products? We've always learned right from the very beginning, 3, 2 and 1. 3 supplements a day, 2 shakes and 1 colourful meal. If you're wanting to lose some weight, it's taking your 3 supplements a day, your 2 shakes a day and 1 colourful meal, but just cut back. In regards to gaining weight, now sometimes some people might find that a little bit difficult and they might find that it's a bit much. So what we suggest is having your meal and having a shake afterwards, having your tablets after that, and you can spread that out throughout the day as well if you want to. And in maintaining weight, you're taking 3 supplements a day. If you're going out and you're having 1 or 2 meals, and having your 1 shake at night, or reversing the other way, 1 shake and 2 meals, depending what you're doing for the day. But they do suggest that if for the amount of time that it takes you to lose the weight is the amount of time you stay on your maintenance program as well. That's really important. Yes, the next one please, Shelley. If someone, some extra tips that might be helpful for anyone that is over 100 kilos, we suggest that they can take an extra shake because you want to reduce any snacking and help with their hunger issues. So that's a really good thing to do. If someone's wanting to have added centimetre loss, taking cellulose, but again, these sorts of things, if you're adding extra supplements, then please make sure that you keep taking your water as well and increasing that. If you are having any fatty foods, then you can take 2 to 4 chitosan, but again, this is a fibre, and so fibre likes to attach itself to water, so please, the last thing you want to be is dehydrated, so making sure you increase your water. And the other thing I thought was quite interesting with people who are diabetics, they can split their shakes throughout the day and then they can have their 2 shakes a day, but then have half a shake in the morning, have the shake at breakfast, have another shake and then 1 at lunch, or however whenever you take your shake, but so that the diabetics don't have a spike in their insulin levels. So I think that's a wonderful idea and something that's very important to remember. Amounts that children can take from 0 to 4 years, they can have the Formula 1, the personalised protein powder and aloe, and the probiotic and Herbalife line. I suppose it's very individual to each person, but I know when my kids were little and very small, that they would come home and or from preschool or whatever it might be and have a shake. But then they certainly stop when they've had enough. They just know when their tummies are full. 4 to 8 years, 1/3 of the adult dose, or if they're 8 to 12, 2/3 of the adult dose of that, the scoop. And 12 years or older, then they can then have their adult dose. And most kids, when they come home from school in the afternoon, it's not, "Hi, Mum, how are you?" It's, "I'm hungry." So having a shake is a really good idea when they come home from school, in my opinion. And I don't know about that, but all I know is it works for my children. Next slide. Some things that are really important to note with that symptoms that people might experience when they first start on the product. So they might, not necessarily, but they may come to you and say, "Oh, I've got headache," or "I'm suffering from bloating," or "I'm feeling a bit sick," or diarrhea and constipation, or windy, or a little bit lightheaded. And the key is to drink more water. And if you want to drink, you have to shrink. So keep your water intake up is really important. The herbal aloe is really good to eliminate a lot of these systems as well. And it's really important to do the Rockstar follow-up, as we know that member difference, because someone may suggest on having their milk with their shake, but then when you follow up, you might find, well, they don't actually have dairy, they have soy or almond milk. So that's really important to get that right first. But then we're known for our Rockstar follow-up, so day 1, day 3, day 7, and then weekly after that. So that's something to be mindful of. And of course, all the wonderful things that are coming up now. There's a wonderful newsletter that comes out on myherbalife.com or via email that has all the wonderful information in it. And I don't know just yet, but I'm sure, but coming up to Easter and their Mother's Day, they usually come out with great newsletters with nice little products. So that's something to keep an eye on just in case. We also have the healthy breakfast, I don't know, there you go, the healthy breakfast pack promo that has come out. And of course I got it because I just want the shaker. So so that's really not that. I don't know how long it's going for, I suppose till they run out. And again, coming up to Easter, then you want to make sure that your customers are having protein bars and having healthy options, or showing them some recipes so that they can then still feel like they're having something naughty, but they're not going off their program and they're sticking to what they need to do. Steve and I went up to the summit, and as much as I'd love to give you a lot of information, all I can say is at the end, I always have tissues in my bag, because someone always, has something of great value that, brings an emotion. I mean, in taking Herbalife products, you always have an emotional connection. The same thing happens when you meet these wonderful people, and particularly you've got Queensland has Kim Bromer coming up to the summit, which is going to be wonderful. So he'll be showing you how to improve your life, not just your Herbalife, and doing some team building, leadership, and he'll obviously go over some things of what happened at the Herbalife Honours in Singapore. And we're all really lucky we got to have a picture taken holding the mark, which is actually quite heavy, so it's lovely. So that was the best thing to hold. And Steve's got a good photo of one too, so that was wonderful. And they keep saying the tickets are getting close to being sold out for the Hong Kong extravaganza, which 21 to 23 June, I think, isn't it? And supervisor to attend. That's correct, isn't it? Yes. And then, of course, making sure you meet your milestones through the MAP program or other things online, because the Vietnam vacation's in October too. So I think everyone should be trying to meet those milestones and enjoying all the wonderful things that Herbalife give us when we attend these events. I think that might be it.
Yes. However, up in Queensland, we are so lucky. We can look forward to this weekend, to the summit in Brisbane. And I'm very excited because I know that Kim will not only deliver on helping us see the bigger vision that he saw when he was in Singapore, but also he has been very, he's the sort of person who can open your eyes to all possibilities, not just within Herbalife, but in life generally. And I'm sure that Jan would agree with that. So if you're coming to the summit, which I would recommend to everybody, make sure you bring a pen and paper, start a new page. And I think the other thing for this part of the training is to understand that the next section will be specifically on products. However, it's really important to have that first part. It's like the foundation you're building your house on, your Herbalife house. So what we've just gone through, go over it again when it's sent out to you, because this was drummed into me when I started, who knew nothing about nutrition at all. And so make sure that you always are taking notes, because even if you know the actual, what the products do, remember we are word merchants. Our merchants will not sell the products, but will inspire people for the products. And so when you know something about a product, write it down because you're writing on your brain, but then listen for a new word or something that you go, aha, and you write that down as well. And that's something that I was taught in Gary's office, to learn, to study, not just to let it go by, and it made a huge difference to us and to our financial future. Has anybody got any questions on what we've just gone over? We did it rather quickly, I think.
We did, I think.
Yeah. Any questions, anybody, about anything? No? Shelley, are you back?
Yep, I am.
Can't see you at all.
Yeah, I thought maybe she ran away and she was just doing remote access or something.
No. I was here. No, you did a fantastic job. Yes, you went through very quickly, but it is a very simple training, and like you said, Irene, it's recorded, so we can go back through and look at each slide, and it's all repetition. I mean, how many times have we sat through a part 1 training? Jan, how many part 1 trainings have you been through?
Oh, I would have lost count. Thousands and thousands. But that first part, the part 1 training of that training is just so important for brand new people. So the minute you get somebody registered, even if they're a VIP, it never hurts, but particularly somebody who's going to do the business, it's imperative. But to go through those basic facts is just so important, because it does give people confidence, even if they're talking to a relative or a friend or something like that, even if they're a VIP, because those words and knowing all that information, not that it's a lot, but it's enough to help them become stronger faster. And, you know, I realised when I went to the United States, the first time ever I'd been outside Australia, to go to a Herbalife event. And, you know, Mark Hughes started off with part 1 training. I thought, God, I've come to, you know, United States to hear part 1 training again. But it really opened my eyes to how important that part 1 training is. And it really did help when I came back, and you realise that you need to teach that to everybody who's new.
Absolutely.
And everybody hears it very differently too.
Yeah.
You know, something like, you know, at the summit, there was a lot of things that went over that you would normally hear, but then different people say things from a completely different perspective. And Scott talking about everyone else on stage, like he was obviously very grateful and very humble, and but he was so impressed by everybody else and what they were doing. Like he didn't, it wasn't that he was dismissive of himself, but he had such a lot of respect for everybody else, and it was really, really lovely to listen. And he was a very easy fellow to listen to. I think I've got this notorious habit of writing in a book, and then when I go to the next person, I'll flip it upside down, and it's really bad because I've got to learn to have a different book for everything, I think, because I cross over lots of things. But it's very handy to write it down because your brain can't remember everything.
And as I said, when you write on paper, you're writing on your brain, and that's so important.
So if anyone new's on the call tonight and you want to know where all these promotions and event information is, if you go onto myherbalife.com.au, every single one except for the Healthy Easter options, because that newsletter should come out for April. Also on Facebook, we'll be sharing some different Healthy Easter options, and obviously the protein bars make a really good healthy Easter option. You could put it in a little coffee mug or something with a bunny on it, or, you know, just make it, or even with a little fluffy toy. And you could give them as gifts like that if you wanted. There's probably a few things if you thought that someone doesn't want to eat chocolate but they still want to have a treat for Easter. There's a few ways you could reward your clients and make it fun. So start thinking about that now and start threading that into your conversation so you can upgrade people, because I think that's really important. I forgot to do my good news already because I wasn't sure how on time would be, but I went and bought a dress for the summit today, which was really nice.
Woohoo.
So the lady had just taken over the shop, which was really good. So it was like a streetwear place, but they have really nice Caroline Morgan dresses, which I really like, her brand. Anyway, so I got talking, and she said, I've seen you come in before, and she said, I really should come down and see you because my nutrition's not great, which is really cool. And then we went to another clothes shop, and Ross got some dress pants because he's put on muscle. His ones don't fit him, and he gets to come to the summit this Saturday. And the guy in there as well said, I'll bring some flyers and put them on the counter so when people come. That was really good that happened. That's good because not a lot of people are good with that, so that's great. Yeah, it's really good in Gympie. They're quite community orientated. So then I did 11 walk and talks this afternoon, and I must admit it was quite hot. I knew a storm was coming, but I made myself go out and do it, and got some really good connections of places I hadn't been to before, and just getting out in the community. And sometimes it's easy not to do. It's easy just to go home and hide behind the phone or social media, but I try and do that and go into places I haven't been before. And someone's interested in weight gain, another person was interested in weight loss, and another one, it was business. They said their business wasn't had not picked up, and so why not try and do what we do in the spare time they've got at their business. So that was what happened today. So I'm trying to do walk and talks every single day. Good on you, because what I've been doing is
because I just got to keep trying to think outside my brain. So what I do is I go to a car park and I get a ticket that goes for an extra half an hour. And so then I saw a lady who was really struggling with the weight today, and I said, "Oh, are you just about to put money in the machine?" And she said, "Yes." And I said, "Oh, here's my ticket goes for another 40 minutes. You might as well take that." And she was excited. So I said, "We'll just pass it on, the good stuff, to someone else. But here's my flyer and business card. And if you know someone who might need to lose weight, or, you know, feel energetic or feel happier, then here's." And she was a bit, you know, "Oh, okay." Well, my hand was there, so she took it. But I'm doing that a lot of places I go to now, or when Steve and I went out to dinner, we just accidentally leave our business cards in menus, you know, so you can get inventive. And no one's been phoned us and abused us yet, so we'll just keep going.
I'd say one thing though, and just as this has come up, Lindy, and I learned that as well at Garnford. If I'm going walking and talking and I walk into a place where a person is large, or I'm in a situation like you were,
yes,
rather than say, "Well, you know, this is for weight loss," what you can say is, maybe you know somebody wants to gain some weight, and they go, "No, but I need to lose." It opens the door without them feeling awkward. Would you think that, Dan, would you agree with that? Do you remember teaching that?
Yes.
That's
just
good.
depends on the circumstances, obviously, and the type of person that you're saying it to.
Yes.
And even like for very overweight people, just being open and honest. Sometimes I've done this myself. Said, "Look, excuse me, my name's Gemma Mann. I'm with a health and nutrition company. I'm not intending to be personal or rude, but we have a great nutrition program that helps people with weight maintenance, weight loss, and weight gain. You know, would you know anybody, or would you be interested yourself?"
Brilliant words.
You know,
Yes.
and left them with a flyer. I've had one person actually, you know, be in touch, but the rest, you know, didn't do anything.
But that's just the way it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's actually really good to have different people, how they approach different things, because I know when I was so heavily overweight, I couldn't even get up a few stairs without puffing. So if someone had approached me, I might have been a little bit taken aback, but it would have been really nice because I didn't know where to go. So yeah, someone approaching you, you take it and you go with it, don't you?
So when you're talking with people, keep that in your heart, how you felt, and that will help you help more people.
Yep. And so next week is all about the products. So I would love each person's results to share as well. So if you have your one, obviously I've got some of yours. I'm just flicking through Coral's, Lydia's, Steve, and Lindy's. I've got Irene. I've got your before photo. So that we've got a few before and after photos that we can put on throughout the presentation. So if you wanted to share a bit about your results, so if you'd like to do that, just personal message me and I'll organise that, because I'd love, you know, lots of interaction. Obviously not too much over the top, so that it goes for too long. I think if we can keep it to about that half an hour mark, that would be fantastic. So just keep that in mind. So I'll send the presentation out. So Jen, are you happy to help on that as well?
Yeah, I'll help. Yeah, don't mind.
Great. And Irene, obviously, is very keen on that. I can pop in if you need me, and then if Rosemary can jump on as well, that will be fantastic. And then we'll plan out the rest of the trainings as well. So I've got a few ideas.
And one of the things I wanted to say, we mustn't forget the skin products.
Okay.
Yes.
We tend to do, I mean, I love doing the products, the weight loss, the health, nutrition, but we must talk about it because it's absolutely key for anti-aging. And you don't talk about anti-aging when you're old. You start when you're young.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And for men's skin too, not just like
Yes.
for men and women, because often...
Well, it's the same thing, isn't it?
Yes.
Skin is skin.
Yes. Well, I know Con and Ross have got good shaving results. So
Ross.
yeah, he'll be able to share next week. So that'll be cool. Yes. So now, was there anything else that we needed to add, Jan? Can you think of anything?
No, not that I can think of.
So how do you think Irene and Lindy did?
Fantastically.
Oh, bit more practice. Yes.
No, I think you did great, and it's good to keep it simple. And I would definitely love, I'm just flicking through who's on the call. So Coral and Lydia, if you're happy to jump on and help co-present when or even cover a topic that you're really passionate about, that would be great too. So just let me know over the next couple of months. We might be able to organise that. I know you're busy and sometimes you can't always be on the call, but even if we plan ahead, I would love to hear from you as well.
To give you an idea, Shelley, when daylight saving comes in, it's going to be, I'll be able to listen, but I won't be able to participate because it'll be at the witching hour almost for me with the boys. So if you want me to do anything before daylight saving, then I'm happy to help out with that side of it.
And we can always plan ahead if you say, if you go, okay, well, let's do one in 3 months' time and see whether we can. Anyway, we'll work it out.
Okay, just putting it out there.
And we could always pre-record a few things too and put them out about.
Okay.
So there's a few options, don't worry.
Okay.
So we've finished well ahead of time, which is great. So next week there'll also be feedback from the Brisbane Success Summit and any of the other ones around Australia that weren't last weekend. And by all means, Steve and Lindy, please put what you got out of the summit, because obviously you don't want to give away all the goodies, but if you wanted to put some things on Challenge Yourself Daily, that would be lovely. So I'm going to convert this recording, send it out. So I'll just stop sharing so we can all see each other.
So do you want, if I put up anything for the summit, do you want me to do it after you've done the summit for yourself this weekend?
No, that should be fine, I think, because you had a different guest speaker and that. Would love just whatever you personally got out of it. You don't have to include any of the announcements.
Okay.
So they come if you like, but what you personally got out of that, you and Steve would be great. And obviously I'll see everyone else in Brisbane. Good. Got to get up at 4 a.m, just so you know.
Oh, that sounds familiar, Steve, doesn't it?
So
the funny part was we went to leave here and then we went, like kangaroos. We'd only got 200 metres down the road and I went, oh no, we got to get to Sydney. We can't even get out of Canberra yet. So that was funny.
Yeah. Be careful of kangaroos. Michael's been hit.
Yeah.
Oh, they're horrible.
Yeah.
I think, I do appreciate when people have to travel to events. I definitely take your hat off to you, because it takes a bit of prep and organising for that, especially in Queensland when we know we've got at the moment getting those afternoon storms.
Yes.
Pets and all sorts of things. So just get out there, and so it's the 18th. We've got 13 days until the end of the month. So just make every day count. If you've got new and you're not really sure what your goals are, just maybe make some goals of things you could achieve for this month to help you move forward. It might be your product result, just talking to some people you know, getting some feelers out, asking for referrals or some practice people to practice your wellness evaluations and things like that, or your scripts, and or getting maybe to that next level that you want to get to, 35% or beyond. And for people that have been doing it for a while, I would suggest that you go back to your BizWorks, have a look at anyone that's close, anyone that hasn't ordered that probably should have. Don't assume they're going to order, because they don't always. You don't want them running out of products, because we know when there's a gap, what happens to people. Human nature sets in. We need to keep them consistent. So our job is to keep our people consistent, and the best way to do that is that we're consistent with the products ourselves and set the example, and then we help them to be as consistent, because guess what? They will attract consistent people. That's what happens. So I hope that helps. So finish off the month strong. You've got a good couple of weeks. I'll see you all on Saturday, Queenslanders.
Yes.
You'll enjoy yourself. It was absolutely wonderful. Steve and our brains were fried. I mean, still today, it's just getting back to normality. So, yeah.
Well, I appreciate everyone's support on these calls. Skin will be, so if you want to learn about the skin, it will definitely be on the product training next week, but I'll touch base with all of you and I'll have a chat with you on Saturday anyway.
Wonderful. Enjoy yourself. You'll have a ball.
Cool. Thank you. Well done. Awesome. Did you have
Thanks, Irene.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye,
Thank
Jan.
you. Bye.
Bye, Steve. Catch ya.
Bye.
Bye now.
Oh, what's happened here?